I think that's a good way to segue, actually, into the very latest indications of how people are feeling about President Biden. We've got some conflicting signals here, to say the least. Let's put the good news for the president up here first. NPR Marist poll had a significant bump for him following the State of the Union. If you can see there down in the corner of the screen, the charts, you see with every group basically like a spike in their approval rating. You know, it still at 47%. That's up 8 points from the NPR poll last month. So still not over 50%, but in modern times, 47% is pretty decent. That would put him back to where he was before the Afghan withdrawal, when he really started to sort of take on water. Since 1978, there have only been 6 times when a president saw an approval rating improve 4 points or more following State of the Union addresses. 3 of those bounces were apparently for Bill Clinton, who's famous orator, somewhat less renowned. Joe Biden is somewhat less renowned for his
he was actually a pretty good
oratory skills.
Right.
Ukraine handling, and when you dig down into the numbers, all of his numbers in this particular poll have jumped up. So his handling of the situation in Ukraine was up 18 points to 52%. His handling of coronavirus had jumped up to 55%. That's up 8 points. His handling of the economy had jumped up 8 points to 45%. And, Americans kind of split overall when you ask them whether his approach on Ukraine has been about right or too cautious. Only 6% say what we're saying, which is too aggressive. But overall, this paints a very good picture of how people responded to the speech and are responding to his moves with regard to Ukraine. Let's take a look at the average from 538, because we all know that looking at one single poll is a very foolish thing to do. Even looking at the average of polls sometimes is a very foolish thing to do. That's the only indications we have. You can see he's got a little bump here. He was down at like 40% approve, and with some of the new polling post-State of the Union, he's up to about 42% approve. So he's still significantly underwater. It does show a little bit of a bump. But I do have to say, again, to the cautionary note of looking at any one particular poll, there was a new Quinnipiac poll yesterday that had him at only 38% approve and 51% disapprove, which was almost completely unchanged from their last poll. So there you go. And I think the other thing to consider here is the way that massively spiking gas prices, food prices, inflation, stock market crash, all of those things are going to affect public sentiment. And some of these things are Joe Biden's fault. Some of these things are not Joe Biden's fault, but it doesn't really matter because he's in charge and he's going to get the blame for people feeling like, and the reality that they cannot make ends meet and they are struggling and falling behind rather than getting ahead.
Yeah, I mean, everybody here knows I love a good historical parallel, so I was thinking about it, which is that the 1991 presidential election, days before, in 1991, President Bush, at the height of the first war with Iraq, the war against Saddam Hussein over the invasion of Kuwaiti oil fields, has at his height, 82% approval rating, and goes on to lose a historic failure and be only one president, with only about 600 days later have a 32% approval rating. So why does that happen, everybody? Well, people were very impressed by the stand-up of President Bush, of the successful operation of, I'm blanking, on the Gulf War. I forget exactly what it was called.
Desert Storm.
Desert Storm, there we go. Everybody was, caught up in Schwarzkopf and the Desert Storm and all of that, and then a recession hit. There was a variety of reasons as to actually why, but the economic recession, H.W. Bush thought that he could float on his prestige of his foreign policy chops. I mean, look, under his presidency, the Berlin Wall came down. The Cold War literally ended. It was the triumph of Reagan foreign policy. The Gulf War, it was the unipolar moment. America was strong on the world stage, and then boom, overnight, he loses 60% of his approval rating. So how did that happen? It happened because the 91 and the 1990 recession was hurting people economically, and there was a feeling that the president was out of touch with those daily realities. There's the famous scene, right, where he didn't seem to know what the grocery scanner was. I mean, these pocketbook issues are long-standing. It's the economy, stupid.
Wasn't it the, didn't know the price of milk?
I think it was the price of milk.
Yeah.
You're right. He didn't know, which to me, I don't even know.
I think it was Trump who didn't know the grocery scanner. Wasn't that Trump
you might
thing?
be right. I don't drink milk, so I can't tell you what the price of milk is. All of that is to say that there are presidents in the past who, having ridden the tide of public opinion, had very, very high ones. And then whenever it came down to election time, when the economic consequences really started to hit people, and there was a feeling, as this president has had repeatedly now throughout his term, that the president did not care about the actual things that were hurting people at home, that Bill Clinton was able to come in and destroy him. I think he won over 300 electoral votes, which is crazy, for an incumbent president to go down in that regard. So on the 2022 side, I think it's still probably obviously going to go against him in the same way, just because of how high the gas and the food price are going to be, and because the Dems, didn't do anything in their first year in order to do any of that, and really any of anything. And then you combine that with, look, the number one thing before Ukraine started, what was the feeling? The president does not care about the things that I care about.
Yeah.
The president does not care about things that I care about. Over and over again, focus group after focus group after focus group. Now, consider double-digit food inflation, gas inflation, on top of the Fed raising rates, and then you're about to lose the rich people because the stock market is now crashing. Yeah. So everything is turning against you if you're Joe Biden, and I see a very, 1990 type curve in his future.
Let's also say that a great president can step into a crisis and can enlist the American people in a national project and a shared vision where they're able to then withstand the suffering of the present moment because they see the trajectory out of it. I mean, this was the case with FDR, right? Even things were still really difficult and really bad, but people saw the project and they were invested in this national mission. And so they were hopeful and they were bought into it. This president, he had an opportunity with the State of the Union, and there are some indications that that speech was well received, but I don't know why you're not going all in on a national project of we are going to get off fossil fuel. Here's where we're creating the jobs. Here's where we're building the nuclear power plants. Here's the plan. Here's how it's going to benefit you in the short term. Here's how it's going to benefit you in the long term. And I dare you, any of you Republicans or Joe Manchin or any of you people, to go against me and tell us that we should remain dependent on the oil of Russia and Saudi Arabia and Venezuela, dare them and inspire people into that vision and that mission. That's all on the table. So yes, I always say not everything is the president's fault. Obviously, he's not a magician. And, some of these things are just bad bounces of the ball that really had nothing to do with him. But how you respond in the moment, that's 100% on you. And I just see no ability to marshal the American people even at a time when you do have a lot of bipartisan sentiment around where we stand vis-a-vis Ukraine. I don't see any of that ability to marshal the American people around some sort of cohesive, pride-giving national project whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, we talked so much of this during our State of the Union live stream, and that was the theme, which is where is the theme? Where is the message? Where's the thread that ties it all together? I mean, okay, look, let's put it all on the table right now. Let's build a ton of nuclear power plants, technology neutral tax credits on all of this stuff. One part of the Build Back Better agenda was those EV tax credits, those electric vehicle tax credits. Now's a great time in order to pass that. Yeah. I mean, make it, and frankly, I think it should be also company neutral. I should make it so it's like a $10,000 flat subsidy to anybody.
Yeah,
I think we should make it.
Elon Musk fan, but it should be.
No, I do believe it should be. And, all it is to say is strip out those types of parts and just make it so that people can buy an EV at least cheaper than it currently is. Also, I don't know if anybody has seen, the spot price of nickel is up higher than it has been in a long time. From an international security perspective, we need to go and secure some nickel deposits and other things elsewhere because we need those to build EV batteries. Same thing whenever it comes to gas, and then obviously whenever it comes to nuclear energy. This could be a uniting moment for the country, which is, look, everybody, and this is going to piss a lot of people off left and right. We're like, we cannot continue to depend on fossil fuels forever. In the meantime, we are going to ramp up production of as much as we possibly can to lower the price at the pump for every single American. You can know that that is on me. In the long run, in 2 to 5 years, I will make it so that this will never happen to us again. We will have sustainable, clean nuclear energy all across this country, technology neutral tax credits, throw money to the universities, not in the way that we currently are, but in a way that actually works, and then pass an EV tax credit for the entire country, ramping up production by Ford, GM, Tesla, and otherwise. And hey, look, we have the Defense Production Act and many other places. If Tesla and Ford and all these other people have problems with the EV supply chain, let's get to work. Let's all get to work. There are different ways that we can lower the cost of hybrids, plug-in hybrids, the installation costs, that you can have it so that these tax credits have, which we already have for solar power in people's houses. I mean, look, I'm just a guy on YouTube, but this isn't that hard.
I mean, I agree with everything except the drill baby drill part.
Well,
I think it's a fake solution. I think politically, would it be popular? Yeah, I think it would probably be popular, but it's a fake solution. It doesn't actually lower prices in the short term. It continues our dependence on fossil fuel. It kicks off into the future the ability to actually get off of fossil fuel and dependence, but we'll continue to have that.
That's
debate.
fine. All right, continue to talk.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.